Welcome back, everybody, for another deep dive. This time, we're taking a look at the story of Makazole Mapimpi,
Yeah.
the Springbok rugby player. You sent us a YouTube video about his life over, and it's really something else.
Yeah, it's inspiring stuff.
Really inspiring. It's not just your average, a rags to riches sports story.
Absolutely not. I mean, Mapimpi's journey is one of, incredible resilience.
Right.
When you think about the truly awful circumstances that he had to overcome,
Yeah.
he didn't just, make it to professional rugby. He excelled at it. And at the highest level.
Right.
I mean, a World Cup champion.
Yeah.
And that's despite having a childhood that was just full of unimaginable loss and hardship.
Well, that's what we're going to dive into today. So his early life, from what I saw in the video, was really, really rough.
Yeah.
I mean, growing up in a rural Eastern Cape in South Africa, he's dealing with poverty,
Right.
limited opportunities.
Yeah.
And then on top of that, he loses both of his parents at a young age.
And it's so important, I think, for people to understand the context here. I mean, rural South Africa.
Right.
These are communities that often lack a lot of basic resources. Infrastructure.
Right.
Poverty is widespread. Education is really, really hard to come by.
Right.
So for a kid in that situation, to make it, to have a future in pro sports, that's a pipe dream for most.
Yeah. I mean, it's just really remarkable that he was able to accomplish what he did.
Absolutely.
Because he didn't have access to the same things that a lot of other successful South African rugby players have. He didn't go to those elite schools or have those top-notch training programs. And the video even mentioned that he had to walk almost 10 kilometers every single day just to get to school.
Yeah, and that's a testament to his character. I mean, even as a young boy, you can see that dedication, that drive to overcome anything and try to achieve something better.
And then he has even more tragedy.
I know, it's unbelievable.
During his senior rugby year, so he loses his sister.
Right.
And then he loses his brother, and both of them really young.
Yeah.
It's hard to imagine being able to even function after all of that, let alone pursue a dream as demanding as professional sports.
I know, it's truly remarkable that he found a way to keep going. Anyone else in that position, they probably would give it up on rugby.
Right.
But he didn't. I think he found a way to use that grief, that loss, and turn it into something that gave him strength.
Right.
Gave him a sense of purpose. It speaks to just how powerful sports can be to help people navigate through tough times.
Yeah. And he was considered a late bloomer in the rugby world. He started off playing in these amateur clubs, honing his skills.
Right.
And then eventually he got his break with the Border Bulldogs under-19 side. So what does late bloomer even mean in this context?
Well, in rugby, especially in a country like South Africa that's full of talent,
Right.
a lot of the top players, they get identified really early.
Right.
They go to these fancy rugby schools, they're in these structured programs,
Yeah.
and they move up through these provincial teams based on age. So, unlike them, Mapimpi's entry into that professional world, it came later,
Right.
after all those years of playing in those more informal settings.
So he didn't have all those advantages of that traditional path that you just laid out.
Right.
And I imagine that created some unique challenges for him.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
He constantly had to prove himself at every level,
Mm.
outperform expectations just to get noticed and climb the ranks.
Yeah.
It's like he was always playing catch up,
Yeah.
trying to refine his skills, his tactical understanding,
Right.
while competing against all these other guys who had years and years of this really regimented coaching under their belt.
So he starts with the Border Bulldogs, and from there his career took off. So he goes on to play for the Free State Cheetahs, then the Southern Kings, which is where he has his breakout season in Super Rugby.
Yeah.
So for those of us who maybe aren't as familiar with the sport, break down Super Rugby for us.
Okay, so Super Rugby, that's basically the top professional rugby union competition in the Southern Hemisphere.
Yeah.
It's got the best teams from South Africa, New Zealand, Australia. And, before, it used to have Argentina and Japan.
Oh, okay.
Think of it like the Champions League of rugby.
Okay, got it.
So for someone like Mapimpi, performing well in Super Rugby, that's like a huge stepping stone towards getting checked for the national team.
Got it.
It's a big deal.
And his performance at the Southern Kings definitely caught the attention of the national selectors.
Right.
So then he moves to the Sharks, which is another big Super Rugby team.
Yep.
And then his dream comes true. He gets picked for the Springboks.
Yeah.
The South African national team. I mean, that's going to be a huge honor.
Oh, it's massive. For South Africans, being a Springbok, it goes way beyond just playing rugby.
Right.
It's about national pride, carrying the hopes and dreams of a country with a very complex history. To put on that green and gold jersey, it's like embodying the spirit of South Africa.
It's a huge responsibility. But Mapimpi, he totally rose to the occasion. He's picked for the 2019 Rugby World Cup, and he plays a huge part in their victory. His try in the final, that was historic.
It was totally historic. I mean, he became the first ever Springbok to score a try in a World Cup final.
Yeah.
It cemented his place in rugby history for sure.
And there's that image of him, wearing the jersey, and it's only got his photo on it during the celebrations.
Right.
Because he didn't have any family left to honor. I mean, it's just so powerful, and it really underscores all that he had to overcome.
It was a moment that went beyond sport. It was about the human spirit, finding triumph, even when you've been through something so terrible. It resonated with people all over the world, not just South Africa.
It's amazing how sport can have that effect.
Absolutely.
And his success didn't stop there. I mean, he wins a second World Cup with the Springboks in 2023.
Yeah.
And he's still playing at an amazingly high level.
He is. It's really incredible.
His try-scoring record is phenomenal. He's even surpassed some real legends in terms of his strike rate. What makes him such a great try scorer? What sets him apart?
It's fascinating to watch him play. He's got this amazing blend of athleticism and then this real strategic brilliance.
Okay.
The video talks about him being this direct runner.
Yeah.
Totally focused on getting to the try line. But it's not just about brute force.
Right.
He has incredible speed, agility, and he just understands space and timing instinctively. It's like he knows what's going to happen before anyone else does.
Right.
He anticipates those opportunities that others might miss completely.
So it's not just that he's fast, he's smart too.
Exactly. And that makes him a threat every time he's on the field.
Yeah, it does.
But, it's not just his performance on the field that's worth talking about.
Right.
He's really dedicated to giving back to his community too, and that's inspiring.
Yeah, I mean, he created this foundation to tackle some really important issues in his community, focusing on education, trying to prevent gender-based violence, create opportunities for these young people who don't have a lot. And he's also given a ton of money back to his old primary school.
He has. It's clear that he hasn't forgotten his roots and that he's really committed to making a difference in the lives of others.
His story is just so powerful. It's about resilience, determination, and finding your purpose, even when things are really dark. And that's just the start of our deep dive.
Right.
There's so much more to uncover about Makazole Mapimpi, so stay tuned because we're going to take a closer look at his playing style, and we're going to talk about the impact of his success beyond just the rugby field and what his journey can teach us about overcoming obstacles and achieving our goals.
Absolutely. There's a lot to learn from this guy.
There is.
That's for sure. It's amazing when you think about it.
Yeah.
Mapimpi's story kind of like turns that whole typical rugby star thing on its head.
Right.
Like he was a late bloomer, as that video called him.
Yeah.
It really shows you there's more than one way to make it,
Yeah. It does, and it makes you wonder, how did playing in those amateur clubs all those years, how did that shape how he plays the game? Do you think that maybe, coming up through that less traditional route, maybe it actually gave him some advantages?
That's a really good point.
Yeah.
A lot of those guys who go through the academies and all that, they come out with this really polished, almost textbook style of play.
Right.
Mapimpi, he developed this more instinctive, almost raw approach.
Right.
Because those years in those informal settings.
Yeah. It's almost like all that resilience and determination he had to have off the field.
Right.
It kind of became part of his playing style.
Exactly.
Yeah.
The video called him a direct runner with one route in sight, the try line. It's Mapimpi.
Yeah.
Single-minded, refuses to be stopped,
Yeah.
just like how he dealt with all those challenges in his life.
It's pretty amazing.
It is.
And it clearly worked for him. I mean, that try in the 2019 World Cup final, that was incredible. The way he just chipped the ball over the defense and then chased it down. I mean, the speed, the precision, just pure brilliance.
It really was.
Yeah.
And that try, it wasn't just about his athletic ability. It was like this culmination of everything he'd gone through up to that point.
Yeah.
All the hard work, the losses, that unwavering belief in himself.
Yeah.
It all led to that moment.
It's crazy how it can all come together like that.
I know, right? And for South Africa, a nation that had never scored a try in a World Cup final before, that moment had some serious weight to it.
It did. I mean, rugby in South Africa, it's more than just a sport.
Oh, yeah.
It's tied in with their history, their identity as a country.
Absolutely.
So for Mapimpi, this guy from a disadvantaged background, to pull that off, it was a huge symbol of hope,
Right.
and possibility.
Huge. It went beyond just sports.
Yeah.
It was a victory for the entire country.
It really was. It brought people from all walks of life together.
It did.
You know, it reminded everybody of what sports can do, how it can inspire, uplift, and bring people together.
It was a beautiful thing to witness.
It was. And that 2019 win, it wasn't a fluke. He was part of the Springboks' second World Cup win in a row in 2023.
And back to back. Can you believe it?
It's amazing. I mean, he's a rugby legend.
He is.
And what's even more impressive is that he's still performing at such a high level.
Yeah.
You know? Even though he's getting up there in his career.
That's what's so amazing about him. He's defying expectations.
Yeah.
A lot of athletes, as they get older, they struggle to keep up that same level of performance.
Right.
But Mapimpi, he's just going strong.
It's like he's drawing on that same inner strength that helped him through those awful tragedies.
Yeah, I think there's something to that. Like
Right.
all that resilience he built up.
Right.
It's fueling him, even now.
It could be. I mean, he had to overcome so much to even get to where he is.
He did.
But it's not just about his success on the field. He's doing all this amazing work off the field, too.
That's right. He's not just resting on his laurels. He's using his platform to give back.
Yeah, his foundation, all the work he's doing to address issues like gender-based violence and create opportunities for young people.
It's incredible, isn't it?
It is. It shows he really understands the challenges that his community faces. He's not just a talented athlete.
Right.
He's a compassionate and engaged person.
He is.
Who's committed to actually making a difference.
Absolutely. He's a real role model, not just for athletes, but for anyone who's going through tough times.
Yeah.
He's living proof that you can overcome anything, achieve your dreams, and then use your success to help others.
His story is just really inspiring.
It really is. It shows that we all have that potential for greatness inside us. It's about tapping into that inner strength, working on our talents, and using all of our experiences, good and bad, to shape our lives.
And it's about remembering that success isn't just about what you achieve for yourself.
Right.
It's about how you use it to make a positive impact on the world around you.
Couldn't have said it better myself. Mapimpi is a perfect example of that. He's not just a rugby star.
Right.
He's a symbol of hope, resilience, and the power of the human spirit.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing. And there's another thing about his game that I find fascinating, his try-scoring record.
Oh, yeah, that's insane.
The video said his strike rate is even better than Brian Habana's.
I know, right? And Habana holds the all-time Springboks try-scoring record.
Yeah. So what makes Mapimpi so good at getting those tries?
Well, like we talked about before, he's got that raw speed and agility.
Yeah.
But on top of that, he has an incredible sense of timing.
Right.
Spatial awareness.
Yeah.
Like he sees things that other players just don't. And he's not afraid to take risks and go for it.
So it's not just about being fast, it's about being smart and decisive.
Exactly. He makes those split-second decisions.
Yeah.
That can turn a chance into a treat.
Right. And he's achieved all of this, even though he had to overcome all those obstacles.
Yeah, don't forget about that.
Losing his parents, his siblings, coming into professional rugby later than most.
Right.
But instead of letting those things hold him back, he used them as fuel. He pushed himself harder, always striving for excellence.
His story is a real testament to the power of perseverance, believing in yourself.
It is.
That you can achieve great things.
Absolutely. And you know what else strikes me about Mapimpi?
What's
his humility. I mean, this guy has achieved so much.
He has.
But he's still so down to earth, so graceful.
It's true. There's no arrogance, no sense of entitlement.
Exactly.
And, you know, it's really refreshing to see that.
It is.
Especially in somebody who's been so successful.
Yeah.
It just makes his story even more compelling.
Yeah, it does. It reminds us that true greatness isn't just about awards and achievements.
Right.
It's about who you are as a person.
Your character.
Yeah.
Compassion.
The legacy you leave behind.
Exactly.
Exactly. And as we head into the last part of our deep dive, I'm curious, what about Mapimpi's story resonated with you the most?
That's a good question. For me, I think it's how he turned his pain into purpose.
Yeah.
He didn't let those tragedies define him. Instead, he used them, you know?
Yeah.
That grief, that loss, it became a positive force in his life.
Yeah.
It drove him to achieve great things, both on and off the field.
That's powerful.
It is. And I think it's a lesson we can all take away from his story.
Absolutely. I mean, life's always going to throw us curveballs, but it's how we react to those challenges, how we find meaning and purpose, even when things are tough.
Yeah.
That shapes who we are.
It's true. And Mapimpi's story gives us hope. It shows us that even in the darkest moments,
Yeah.
we have that power within us
Right.
to rise above it all, find our strength,
Yeah.
and create a better future.
It's a good reminder that our stories are never really over. We can always write new chapters filled with hope, resilience, and the pursuit of our dreams. But there's more to uncover in this story. Join us for the final part of our deep dive as we look at the bigger picture of Mapimpi's journey and what it tells us about the power of sport to inspire, unite, and change lives. Okay, so we've talked a lot about Makazole Mapimpi's story.
We have.
You know, from those really tough early years to becoming world champion and all the amazing work he's doing in his community.
Right.
But I'm thinking about the bigger picture now.
Okay.
What can we all learn from his journey? What goes beyond just rugby?
Well, I think Mapimpi's story gives us some really deep insights into the human spirit.
Okay.
You know, it shows us that being resilient isn't just about bouncing back from tough stuff.
Right.
It's about using those experiences to grow and push yourself further.
It's like he took all that pain and turned it into power.
Exactly. And that's a powerful message for everybody, right?
Right.
It tells us that no matter how hard things get,
Right.
we all have this inner strength
Yeah.
that we can draw on.
It's about finding that strength and using it.
Right.
And it's also about hope, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely.
Even in the darkest times, he never stopped believing that things could get better.
Yeah.
That he could still achieve his dreams.
And that hope wasn't just some feeling he had.
Right.
It pushed him forward. It kept him going. It's a choice we all make every single day.
Yeah.
To believe in ourselves and believe that tomorrow can be better.
His story shows how important community is too, right?
For sure.
He didn't achieve all this on his own.
No way.
He had coaches, teammates, mentors who helped him along the way.
That's so important to remember. We always focus on individual achievements.
Right.
But Mapimpi's story is a reminder that we rarely do anything truly great alone.
Yeah.
We all need people around us to help us through the tough times, to celebrate with us, to keep us grounded.
It's a good reminder to build those relationships.
It is.
Find your people.
And hold on to them.
Yeah, exactly.
And you know what else?
What?
Mapimpi's story shows how sports can bring people together.
Oh, yeah.
Break down barriers.
Right, right.
I mean, rugby has a really complicated history in South Africa.
Yeah.
But Mapimpi, he brought people together from all walks of life.
He did.
He became a symbol of national pride. He unified people.
His success went beyond race, beyond money, beyond politics.
Exactly.
It was a win for the whole country.
It was a shared experience. And that's the amazing thing about sports, isn't it?
Yeah.
It can create these moments of pure joy.
Yeah.
Where everyone feels connected.
It reminds us that we're all human.
Yeah.
That we have more in common than we think.
Absolutely. We can find common ground through our passions.
Right. So as we wrap up our deep dive today, I want to leave you with one last thought.
Okay.
What can you take from Makazole Mapimpi's story? What can you apply to your own life?
Good question to think about.
Yeah.
Maybe it's finding that renewed sense of hope.
Mm-hmm.
Or committing to chase your dreams no matter what.
Yeah.
Or maybe it's just remembering to value the people in your life.
Or maybe it's just appreciating how resilient the human spirit can be.
Yeah.
And how sports can inspire us and bring us together.
Oh, good things to take away.
I hope Mapimpi's story leaves you feeling empowered, hopeful,
Me too.
and ready to tackle whatever life throws your way. Thanks for joining us for this incredible deep dive.
It's been a pleasure.